Yo, can we slow down with the JJ McCarthy thing? And I know I can't believe I'm over here about to defend JJ McCarthy because I was the one when everything was said and done about him being drafted. Uh, why does this guy even deserve to be in the top, of that draft class, and why nobody has skepticism really of him in the same way that we had of other people? But here we are, all this other stuff, and I was like, look, earlier this year, I said that I don't think it was a mistake that they moved on from Sam Darnold to give JJ a shot, and technically Daniel Jones. You want to also throw that in there as well. I don't think that any of that stuff was a bad way to go. I was like, you put the 10th pick on him. I was like, he was hurt all his rookie year. I was like, and guess what? He's a rookie right now playing. He's 10. I was like, he's only played 5 games. Now, would have been like later on this year if he would have started the whole season and we're in the same boat, maybe you would have a little bit more argument. But let's also think of his own, his own dude that's also in the same division, who also has skepticism throughout partial of his year, and hell, even through some of the earlier at this point of the year. Caleb Williams, same boat, where everybody was like, man, this guy's not getting it. He's not playing well. Now, you can say the difference is obviously the coaching. He looks better this year with a better coaching. Kevin O'Connell is a guy that everybody gives a stamp of approval on and whatnot. But last year, Caleb was missing throws to like wide open people, and it was just like, yo, you are off on throws you should make that are easy. And the same thing going on with JJ McCarthy. Now, could we also say, is it also on Connell to make some things where it's like, hey, give some stuff to your playmakers in some very easier spots and stuff like that? I feel like you can also say that as well too. But right now it's like, hey, this is sort of what you just made in your situation. I was like, you traded off on somebody that you know they're going to be some growing pain. You know there's going to be some rookie, some young people, whatever you want to say on all this. You got to give him the break that is needed in this situation. We just got to get to do time to do it. And to be honest, this is a larger discussion in general that is with all these younger quarterbacks. But I just don't understand how for 5 games, like, yes, the team is made to make sort of a playoff run and whatnot now. But at the same time, you haven't had him have the proper amount of games. And then I was like, Carson Wentz, I think we're playing like fairly good, fairly well. And then guess what? He started turning to Carson Wentz. He had an injury, and then guess what? He's gone. So whatever tide he was riding, that's what it is. But also, I think the other problem too is the fact that guess what? The backup quarterback is an undrafted, I believe, rookie at the same time. And to me, with a team that's like this veteran, you should be like, okay, we're going to go with JJ. We got Carson Wentz as the veteran guy. You should probably have another guy that at least got some game reps or whatever. Because it also seemed like they sort of threw him in. It seemed like if they had Carson Wentz, they wouldn't have played him. But I mean, like Carson Wentz was playing bad to where I feel like it forced their hand. But once Carson Wentz basically couldn't play anymore, then you had to throw McCarthy in, and they're not even making an excuse like the injury thing necessarily. But it doesn't seem like they were ready for him to go in. So I think we're doing a little too much after 5 games. Him being the top pick, especially because what is next? You know, like you're already in the midst of this year now. It is what it is. But you have to see this guy. You have to see the guy through. You have to see if he can pick it up. And I was like, he's had moments. And I was like, for some reason, I was like, hey, he picks up in the 4th quarter. So for some of y'all, that's like, oh man, he doesn't win his game time. But I was like, as of right now, he's playing like a rookie. He's playing like somebody who hasn't had a chance to play. And that is just going to be held on. Wait a minute. Let's just see this out. And as far as like everybody else, like I said, I think there got to be some type of play calling that goes to just being like, yo, let's give Jefferson the ball. Let's do. I mean, I was like, and I get it. I seen some of the things where he's overthrowing them and stuff, and not throwing them in the pockets as it needs to be. But that's where also you see that as a coach, you got to come up with some better ass play calling as well of getting him easy throws, getting your receivers the ball to feel good and then taking all the pressure off McCarthy. Because let's be honest, that's what this also was. It was going to be that you got the receiving core and you got the running backs to make this thing way easier for McCarthy, that he basically shouldn't be the guy you're relying upon. But he's the guy that you're relying upon a lot in this situation as well too. So I was like, the team wise, that I was like, that's not on McCarthy. But McCarthy do got to make better throw. But this is just also something you just got to deal with. Like, regardless of McCarthy was another quarterback or whatever, you would still be dealing with growing pains of being a rookie. None of the other, I was like, outside of Jaden Daniels, all the other rookies didn't really have any hardships. You know, Caleb went through his. I was like, Drake May did as well. I was like, Penix got in there as well. You know, like, all of them had some stuff. I was like, Bo Nix ain't really been lighting that thing up either. You know, I was like, but they all got all their rookie year out of their system in order to look better, or at least show that it's like, I'm not going to be making some of these other dumb things as I did previously. McCarthy hasn't gotten that. And I was like, this to me is really kind of more like Jordan Love, where it's like he had sort of. I was like, he had the year of like, oh, is he sort of doing? He only had like a good, and then guess what? He was able to put it together later on. And that next year, after getting some reps, after, you know, even though he'd been in the league a bit, that was still his rookie year that way. So Mike McCarthy, yes, he'd been in the league a year, but he didn't have a rookie year. He didn't even got like a total past 5 games to build upon something to where you could say, oh, he won't do that again. Hopefully he don't do that again. Maybe we don't make that play call for him or whatever like that. At that point, you're still learning him. You wanted to get him out the game running and stuff like that. Then you either have stayed around the vet, which, like I said, that's not a bad decision when you make the draft pick on the guy, or you should have drafted somebody who has a lot more reps to their game. He was in college for a good while, but it's not like he was the guy in college in that same way. Where like you look at Jaden Daniels, you look at Bo Nix, it's like, hey, them guys been there a long ass time to where it's like, okay, they got the reps behind them that you wouldn't feel the same way, you know. Anyway, I cannot believe I'm over here defending McCarthy, because I was like, I don't have nothing against him, but I was like, I'm not over here either being like, this is the quarterback that I was champion on out that draft class either. But anyway, we already know how everybody else feels, but give him more time. That's the point of the story.